Some guy called me before and said that he was having sex to the E! Show last night. I can't imagine.
What was on?
At Whack Pack Part 1, I can't imagine what he was doing it to, and I tried to get to him, but he was gone. So.
Well, yesterday I went home and I looked at that E! behind the scenes thing where they were talking about what goes on, and they interviewed part of the staff of our E! crew.
Right.
It was rather interesting what people had to say.
Really? What do they do?
Yeah, that's what I found out. I found out what some people do. Ganji, I still can't understand his job.
Yeah, you know what Ganji's job is? I heard they spent like 7 minutes on Ganji. Ganji's job is to walk around with a home video camera and videotape anything that goes on.
Well, he was talking about how difficult a day it was for him because the Whack Packers were in.
He's an idiot. That kid's really out of it.
Today's a really difficult day.
You came on a very tough day. I got to walk around and videotape. Yeah, come to think of it, when I have to videotape my kids' birthday parties, it is kind of tough. Maybe he's got something there.
And then Scott Einziger, I don't think I really understood his job either.
What did he say his job was?
Well, he was talking about the difficulties of logistically putting the show together.
What's so hard? You come in, you videotape.
Shooting. Everybody was talking about how hard their job was. Scott DePace, his job is hard.
His job is hard. Can we get a copy of this show?
I have it at home.
You do? Could you bring it in? I want to play it in on the air. People telling us what their jobs are?
Yeah.
Trying to say how hard their jobs are?
That's right.
You're going to tell me Scott DePace has a hard job?
Because you never know what you're going to do. You see.
Oh.
And you can't have an actual camera person in the studio.
Oh,
so
that's hard.
It's difficult.
90% of this guy's job is sitting and watching me on TV while I talk into a microphone. Once in a while, we have a fat girl come in. We have to weigh, so he has to set the camera for the scale. They should have interviewed me for that show. I would have offered the rebuttal. Everybody with the hard jobs out there.
We have the tape, so I'm just.
You got it?
Good.
Yeah. I mean, should I just pull off these? Each guy here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's possible, do it on Prontissimo. I'd like to get to it after the commercial.
I will.
Okay, so Robin saw this. I haven't. We'll hang out with it. We'll see if there's anything to it. If not, we'll bail.
Yeah, the guys were back there looking at it when they were taking it off. They said, Howard ought to just look at the video. It really is funny.
Is it? Now, let's listen to audio first.
Guys. Sure.
All right.
Hey everybody, I'm Todd Newton, welcoming you back to this scintillating sneak peek behind the scenes of E! Entertainment Television.
Hi, I'm Todd Newton. Boy, Todd's a happy dude.
Wow.
That's the one going out with Debbie Gibson?
Is that him?
Yeah.
Well, when it premiered back in 1994, E!'s televised version of Howard Stern's radio show gave fans an unprecedented view of the king of all media in action. But now, we're going to reveal even more behind-the-scenes activity. I'm talking about things you've never seen on the air. Until now, of course.
Where do you get all these happy guys? Why is everyone so happy?
How do you get that way?
Why am I not happy? That's
hey, everybody.
I was asked to shrink. Why am I so unhappy? And everyone seems to be so happy.
Mike will take you up to the front green room.
We're going to go up to the front green room.
And then you can...
Today's a pretty crazy day. There's a lot going on. We have a bunch of the Whack Packers from the show up here to get hypnotized. So basically, when they're up here, there's a lot of confusion because they're Whack Packers. Okay, guys.
Very clear, Ganji.
Ganji's an idiot. So that's Ganji just showing his day.
Yeah, it's very confusing up here because they're Whack Packers.
Why is he so confused?
I don't know.
You know what his job is? Let me explain it to you, ladies and gentlemen. His job is to take a camera and follow people around in the halls. And he's confused. And you want to know something? My entire staff is confused.
It shows.
Yeah. Why the first things out of this guy's mouth is that he's confused? Why is everyone so confused? Really? Why are they so confused? Things are really crazy. There's 4 people up here. Things are crazy.
He's supposed to tell us what he's doing. It's just really crazy. It's very confusing.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? That I hired him. That's crazy.
And I finally found out his title. He's got a highfalutin title.
What is his title?
Associate producer.
He's a bum. That's his title. You're a bum. Hey, look at this. I just found a hat in my coat.
My hat, my coat.
My hat, my coat. Get out of here, man. Get lost. Why are you so confused?
I never said on that tape I was confused.
That's what you just said.
No,
It's
I said it was a
confusing.
crazy day.
You said you're confused. It's confusing.
I said it was a crazy day. That's it. And it's because when you have like Fred the Elephant Boy, Crackhead Bob,
it's so confusing,
and all those
Gage.
other wackos.
You got to go in the room and put a camera on them. That's pretty confusing. Right,
you
get
gotta
out
keep
of
them
here.
in
Get out.
line.
Get out. I don't want to even see your face.
Okay.
You make me sick.
Right,
it makes me sick that I had a job and I gave it to you.
Oh, why?
Because there's a lot of people out there I could have given it to.
Oh, and I wasn't
people who can write, people who can do things. Get out of here. I'm confused. It's a very confusing day. Because they're whack packers.
It's a crazy day. It's a confusing day.
Except for the fact that he gets to hold the camera, he's one of the whack pack. He doesn't get that.
Yeah, take your stuff.
Like he's better than them.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know, Whack Packers are members of a ragtag group of misfits featured on the Howard Stern Show.
Ragtag.
Today, Elephant Boy, Crackhead Bob, and female bodybuilder Nicole Bass are going to be hypnotized. The guy with the camera is associate producer Mike Ganji. He's always on hand to capture all the action and then some.
Yeah, it's a home video camera. We gave the guy a home video camera. Anybody could do that job. There isn't a person in my audience who couldn't handle that.
The televised version of the show.
Barbara, why don't you tell me, looking around the room and looking at the group that you're going to be hypnotizing, why don't you tell me how do you think it's going to work on this group?
I think...
That is the worst question. How can she know how it's going to work? Who cares?
Yeah, and what's she going to say? She's standing in the room with these people. She's going to insult them and say they look too wacky?
It's going to be great. I think we've got...
It's a dumb question. How do you think it's going to work? Who cares? Hypnotize them.
Day in and day out, a renegade group of staffers in New York.
Renegade. Was that the twice he said renegade?
Uh-huh.
Weren't the Whack Packers renegade?
They're renegades, and the staff is renegade.
Yeah. We're the only ones not renegade. We're here working. Ganji. They've already spent way too much time on Ganji.
I know, it was like, is this the Ganji show?
Yeah, the most insignificant member of the whole troop. Whack. I'm confused because they're Whack Packers.
Day in and day out, a renegade group of staffers in New York turned the most controversial radio program in the country into a TV show. These brave souls never know exactly what they'll be called upon to do. Today, for example, producer Doug Goodstein has been roped into being hypnotized along with the Whack Pack.
It gets a little nutty because you got a lot of, people. There's a lot of logistics.
This is Scott Einziger.
Oh, this is Scott Einziger?
Yeah, it gets a little nutty for him, too.
It gets nutty for him. What is so nutty for him? He sits there and watches.
Well, he's going to tell us. It gets a little nutty.
All right, let's hear how it gets nutty for him.
There's a lot of logistics. And then you have other guests, so you're like juggling guests.
What is he juggling?
He doesn't make any sense either.
He doesn't have to do a thing. There's a lot of logistics.
And it gets nutty because you got other guests.
Ladies and gentlemen, I swear to you, I come in here every day. If I have a guest, they sit in a chair, and that's the end of it. I have no idea what the logistics are for everyone.
They're always right there.
How about some people be honest go, you know what? Howard pretty much does everything, so I'm just going to sit here.
But it fascinated me how everybody was trying to make themselves appear to be important.
Yeah. Using words like logistics. There's a lot of logistics. If anything, there's no logistics. Everybody's nuts.
These aren't garden variety radio show guests. Many possess extraordinary gifts. And it's executive producer Scott Einziger's job to decide which guests featured in Howard's 5-hour radio show.
They didn't want to pay Einziger any more money. Now they've run out of titles for him.
His titles get longer and longer.
Executive producer.
Will make the cut and wind up in E's half-hour TV show.
This won't be on E, but there was a woman who shot Jack Daniels out of her private parts. So, we had to, juggle her around. It gets a little hectic.
You had to juggle her around?
All you have to do is not use that tape.
What do you mean he has to juggle her around?
I don't know, Howard.
Do we dare ask what he's talking about? He had to juggle her around?
Isn't it a matter of not using that?
She came in here, I interviewed her, and now he's going to juggle her. That I'd like to see, him juggle her.
What does that mean?
Dude, are you out of your mind?
It was a really nutty day, and I got confused.
It was a nutty day. Sit in your booth.
I don't know.
The day they were shooting this, I saw Einziger running around, like trying to look like he's doing something. Because when the camera isn't here, he sits in the booth and watches me work. I had the best job in the world.
I had to make it dramatic.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
You were juggling, man. Yeah. You juggle so much, you should join the circus and leave the show already.
He's ready.
No, in the editing room, he makes the decision what goes on the show and what doesn't. That's an important job, but during the show...
that's important. Why are they
juggling?
That's boring to shoot.
Right.
You know,
but once you say, I really don't do anything, Howard does everything.
I said a lot of things. They didn't use it. They interviewed me for a half hour. I can't.
Let's see.
Earl, how you doing, man? Glad everything worked out. You have fun?
Yeah,
big time. Good. Yeah.
When we first launched the show, we were kind of...
oh, that's John Reiber?
Yeah.
John Reiber sits in Los Angeles. He's never a part of the show.
But when they're taping this, he's here.
John Reiber showed up for the special.
That's not true.
Oh, come on, dude.
No,
that was a real coincidence.
That's not true.
At first, I was like, who is that?
Reiber's a guy who sits in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And I call up and I go, John, why are you putting edits over the private parts of a cartoon? I don't know.
Television crashing into radio. It was kind of a crashing of two different cultures. But they were very open to us coming in and putting everything that they do on radio on television.
How are we doing? I'm going to go walk on my reaction when I knew we were going to start working with E was...
Gary?
Yeah, Gary.
Oh, another do nothing.
He is another one who's talking and not saying anything.
Oh, I got to hear this. What does he say? I missed him. Yeah, I don't want to miss a...
Rewind, because he's not saying anything.
I don't want to miss a pearl of wisdom.
My reaction when I knew we were going to start working with E was I was really excited about it because I always thought that this was a show that really lent itself to TV. But I was also a little unnerved.
He thinks what I tell him to think.
Listen, wait a minute. You got it because it's hysterical.
Baba Booey.
By it because I knew these cameras would be following us all over the place, and I knew that our lives in the office were going to become even more of an open book.
Like, what was that?
I don't know.
Baba Booey.
When you did half-hour interviews,
right?
They wound up using this stuff? What did you say?
I didn't cut. I think it's a good piece, but I didn't cut it. Yeah, that's
okay. All right. That's what concerns me about you, that you think this is good. I thought you were a smart guy.
First and foremost, the E! Show gave Downing listeners a chance to find out what was really going on in Howard's studio.
The E! Show kind of opened up like, wow, this is what's going on, and to actually
look at who's in my, like this is about behind the scenes of my show.
Your representatives.
Yeah.
He's eloquent.
Is he?
He's
as usual. This guy couldn't even graduate college.
This is actually a highlight of the piece.
The E! Show kind of opened up like, wow, this is what's going on, and to actually, a lot of people always said, oh, those girls don't get naked. Those girls aren't getting naked. I'm like, yeah, I swear to God, they really get naked. Everything that he says is true. And then finally, the E! Show came around and it was like, he's not kidding around. All my friends were like, you weren't. It's wow. They were shocked.
What an idiot. What a moron.
Oh.
Wait, so the girls,
you weren't.
The girls, they
so like the girl, my friends, and then they asked what they really get. Well, of course, but wow, it's like it's well, you know,
it was Gorilla's usual idiotic comments, except fast.
Yeah,
they were coming out fast and furious.
Wow,
wow,
it can't be true. It can't be. Well, like they talked to me and they asked the girls getting that. Wow, it's all true. I swear.
Doing the Stern Show is that we obviously can't have any camera. We can't.
Who's this?
Scott DePace.
Oh, this is our director.
Yes. Now
this
is going to tell you why his job is tough.
Oh, can't one of these guys? This is tough. Yeah, he sits in a chair. There's 3 robot cameras, and he switches back and forth. Oh, 7. Excuse me. Who would know? Looking at the show, I think he only uses 3 of them. Yeah, let's hear why it's hard to be the director of this show.
The big thing about doing the Stern Show is that we obviously can't have any We can't have any cameramen or people inside the studio as he's doing the radio show because it is a radio show first. So everything is controlled from the other room. The way that we shoot the show is with 7 robotic cameras. So they're real smooth. They can pretty much do 359 degrees.
Thank God they're putting music behind it.
The show's changed on a lot of levels. First of all, we're out of a small studio.
This is Scott.
This is Scott. Yeah. The show has changed. The show has changed on a lot of levels. Now we're in a bigger studio.
Room.
The show has changed for Scott. We're in a bigger room now.
Very limiting in terms of what we could do.
The old studio, it would have been all of us in this little spot right here, doing, cramped on top of each other.
One thing that was really important to Howard is that we had elements of the show tied into the set. So there's a lot of things that are history of the show.
You guys sound like you have nothing to do. You know what?
I don't know what they do. Have you found out what anybody does?
It's like putting light on a cockroach. You guys are scrambling. So far, nobody's done anything except talk about that the show has got a bigger studio. That's all I've heard.
People want to know that.
Sam Kinison, that's Nicole Bass. Down there's Robin on her horse, Blaze. Over here, we have figures of Howard. Some of them are made of tape. Just wacky stuff. That's Hank, the angry drunk dwarf.
You're giving a tour of the set?
I gave him everything. I didn't,
We have this great picture of Gary, which is a classic. There's a great shot of Scott Salem, who's the audio engineer.
That's the real doll. He's our newest guest, full-time guest.
Sounds like a tough job to me.
I get up 4:15 to get here at 5.
Now that sounds like the hardest part.
Got to pace.
Got the face complaint.
After a couple of beers the night before, it's a little rough getting out of bed.
I got up at 4:15.
Yeah, I get up at 4:15. Listen to this. So far, I haven't heard what anyone does.
Normally you come in, you set up, then the day goes to the mode where Howard will start on the radio, does his thing, and we'll cover whatever. We actually cover all 5 hours.
You notice the music's so loud you can't hear what anyone's saying? That's because no one's saying anything.
Thank goodness.
Keep going and push into Elephant Boy tight. I enjoy the show. We're laughing the whole time. The most challenging aspect is the element that we're just so removed from the action. We're all in our control room trying to make this thing work. So what we'll do next is generally when we have a segment that has a lot of setup and it's a little more than a celebrity interview, we go and tell Howard how we're going to set it up, where we're going to place people.
What am I doing?
All the subjects that we hypnotize, crackhead Bob.
And these guys came in and made me do this.
I said, this is a so set up shot.
It was fabricated.
I knew it was completely fabricated.
Yeah, these guys come in, all of a sudden, they go, all right, here's what we need you to do. And I'm like, when have they ever done this? Not once. And then, all of a sudden, it's like, we need you to, and then you're going to go over to this camera. And then I'm like,
still scrambling to try to make it look like they do something.
Yeah, because they say, would you pretend like we're doing something?
Yeah.
I said, okay, if it'll help you guys out.
And you laugh at the end of it because it's such a goof.
This is so stupid.
You're an amazing person. You really are so funny because Scott Einziger came in for like a week before and he would say to you, the crew's coming next Monday.
Right.
And then every day give you the countdown. And every time you walk out, you go, what? And it was like you weren't hearing it.
Right.
And then he told you, the crew's here today. And you go, what crew? And Scott said something, and I know you didn't even understand what he meant.
Yeah.
And then you go, what's going on? And I go, just you and I are having our meeting. They just need 30 seconds.
Right.
And then we did it, and it was totally staged. And then Scott walked out, and you go, what was that for? Like, you still didn't even know what it was for.
I mean, I don't know what's going on.
You were so not into it.
I mean, that has never happened before. Where Scott Einziger...
The laugh at the end was so telling to me because I was like, they staged that whole
I mean, the whole situation was faker than Tula's vagina.
This actually should have been called the special about Howard and Robin, but Howard and Robin won't talk to anyone at 8.
Yeah, right.
Nicole Bass, Elephant Boy, Doug, and Grillo were all perfect. They'll all be sitting over there, and she'll be behind them with a wireless microphone.
Listen to all this.
And she'll go to each subject, as you want to talk to them. Okay.
I mean, I don't know what this was. All right, I could see that this is a horror scene.
It gets there's even some better comments later on. Robin Redzinski gets into
she gets
Scott
talking.
Einziger, and they start telling the things that we've done.
Is this thing almost over? Should I play the rest of it? Let me play the rest.
I heard the Robin Redzinski comments are funny.
All right, let me hear
it. It's really funny.
Scott's the leader, always running around. Robin Redzinski, as the supervising producer, is the calming influence in the room.
What is going on back in that room? So you're the leader, Scott, and
you're
Robin,
running.
and you're running, and Robin Redzinski calms you.
No,
This is such a bunch of bull. This whole piece, Jesus. I mean, come on.
Having a lot of testosterone helps me to deal with all these men. But it's funny that the E staff really mirrors the Howard Stern staff in the number of men with one woman.
So her issue is a male woman.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she loves being the only woman back there because everyone pays attention.
Keep going.
Yeah, this is the big similarities between our staff and their staff.
Okay.
We're both named Robin, and what happens is on the air, what Robin Quivers won't do, I'll sometimes get yanked in to do.
Oh, that's right. She looked at Flip Wilson's penis.
Yeah, she says all that in there.
Yeah.
She keep going.
I still want to know what anyone does back there.
Nobody does anything.
It's tough for Robin and Scott to always know that at any second they're part of the radio show.
Oh, that's hard for you?
No,
yeah, really. I mean, why is that hard? But so far, everyone's hard.
Listen to this. Everything's difficult.
Yeah, everything is hard and difficult on the show. John Robert, it is very difficult for them to know. First of all, it started out being a very difficult day because I had 4 guests in here.
Crazy day.
Crazy. Then it became difficult.
There was a lot of logistics.
Yeah, logistics. And then it became difficult because they know they can be yanked in at any moment.
What idiot is going to say that the job's easy? Who's
but it is. I mean,
Of course.
I mean, come on.
Howard, they set me in that chair. I couldn't think of anything to say.
I know, that's what you say. You go, I tell you the truth, I don't really do anything.
I'm going to create a little drama for
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm needed, but...
Hey, Gary says, I was happy that he was coming, and then I was worried that he was coming.
It comes like that. And once you hear your name, your stomach drops, and you start preparing what you're going to say.
Sometimes it's get yelled at. We don't get reamed off the act. We get reamed on the act. There's never a reaming off the air.
Off the air. Off the air.
Off the air.
There's never there's a reaming because you're an idiot.
I got wrapped in plastic and they put a wig on me.
Hey, wrap him up in saran wrap. Let me see how he looks. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, in this show, anything goes.
I've had my chest shaved on the air.
Wow, look at the amount of hair.
Being asked to feel a man's giant potato-sized testicle.
Go ahead, just let me see. Yeah, take the whole thing out. Wow, wait, that is real.
That's so real.
Yeah,
And
it is.
Disgusting.
I think we've all been hit, so to speak.
How come you cry this time?
How come I didn't cry this time?
Yeah. The E! Show has made me somewhat recognizable.
Oh, no.
You know, walking down the street, especially subways and buses and cabs.
Honestly, I don't tell people what I do because people have such strong reactions about Howard.
Thanks.
I keep it a secret.
I don't tell people what I do. So far, this piece is a disaster.
I'm a nun.
And Ganji, I get noticed all over the place.
I'm
somewhat
Still can't get laid. Yes, somewhat.
If he's so recognizable, how come the guy's never done one public appearance?
I know.
Well, he's in Subways.
Because he's recognizable, but nobody wants him.
Despite the dubious notoriety, the killer hours, and the relentless public humiliation, these courageous E-staffers are proud to be a part of the Howard Stern phenomenon. And thank God for that, because this group may never be able to assimilate back into polite society.
Well, look at what we learned from that piece.
That's it.
Everybody's crazed. Robin Radzinski calms everyone down, and she looks at Flip Wilson's penis for a living. All right, very good. Nice job.
Your performance, I mean, you're going to get an Emmy this year. That deserves an Emmy.
Why? Because I said it was a tough day?
It was a crazy day. It was a confusing day. I'm so confused. It's crazy.
And you didn't like the fact
I'm somewhat recognizable.
Yeah, so? I'm not?
Oh, just go away. You do nothing. You know nothing.
Can I have your autograph? Can I have your autograph, sir? Why do I do nothing? It's Mike Ganji from the
We get reamed on the air, not off the air. Everything is on the air.
No, nobody said I speak well.
Do you really think we do nothing, though?
No, this is what you guys said.
That's why we're behind the camera. We can't explain ourselves.
Think twice. I have no idea what they do.
Neither do we.
Amazing.
You got a lot of people right by the. That's exactly.
Ganji's actually going to do something. What is he going to do?
He's going to get crazy.
It's really crazy that
Is it going to be confusing?
Very.
I never said confusing. Where do you get confusing?
Are you kidding? Go back and listen to it.
I said it's a really crazy day.
Because everything's confusing.
I'll listen to it. I don't know. I don't remember saying confusing. I just said it was a really
Because you were
crazy day.
confused when you were talking.
Oh, stop. You sit in your little bubble in there and let us deal with the real world.
Oh, boy, that was so much fun. When I heard there was going to be a behind the scenes, because I was watching the E! coverage of the pre-show with Joan Rivers, and they said, coming up next. I said, let that tape roll.
You just couldn't wait, could you?
And I rushed home yesterday to watch.
You just sit in your little glass bubble in there.
You couldn't get me the tape I should have been watching, so I watched you.
I'm going to make a bet that tape is sitting in your door, man. I'm going to make a bet.
All I know is that I had to watch you, Ganj.
Go sit in your glass bubble and we'll take care of the real world for you. You want us on this wall.
What I do is get confused.